Do you ever feel trapped by your own thoughts? You wake up, and before your day even begins, your mind has already started creating problems. I can't do this. What if I fail? I'll never get better. And the more you try to push these thoughts away, the stronger they come back. This is exactly why cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, works. CBT is not magic. It's not some complicated technique reserved only for therapists or psychologists. It is a set of practical, research-backed strategies that anyone can use to change the way their brain responds to stress, anxiety, depression, or negative thinking. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to apply these techniques in your everyday life, step by step, so that your brain slowly rewires itself for better mental health. Here's what science says. The brain has a natural tendency called cognitive distortion. These are patterns of thinking that make small problems feel enormous and real threats seem unbearable. The human brain evolved to detect danger, but modern life constantly triggers these ancient systems. So we ruminate, catastrophize, overgeneralize, and blame ourselves for things outside our control. CBT teaches you how to recognize these distortions, challenge them, and replace them with realistic thinking. That's the core, but let's make it actionable. The first technique is called thought records. This is one of the most practical tools used in CBT. Whenever you feel anxious, sad, or stressed, grab a journal or open a notes app and write down the thought. Write exactly what your brain is saying. For example, I always mess things up at work. Next, identify the distortion. Is this all or nothing thinking? Overgeneralization? Catastrophizing? The key is labeling it. Then ask yourself, what is the evidence for this thought? What is the evidence against it? And finally, come up with a balanced alternative thought, such as, I made a mistake, but I have completed many tasks successfully. This simple habit rewires your brain over time. By documenting thoughts and challenging them, you create a habit of rational thinking. Studies from multiple universities in the USA show that thought records reduce both anxiety and depressive symptoms significantly over a period of weeks. Here's a practical example. Imagine Alex, a software developer in Chicago. He often told himself, I'm terrible at my job. I'll never get a promotion. By using thought records, he wrote down this thought, labeled it as catastrophizing, and listed evidence. He had successfully completed 3 projects this month. His manager gave him positive feedback. Then he replaced the thought, I made a mistake on one task, but overall I am performing well. Within 2 weeks, Alex noticed that his stress about work decreased, and he even started volunteering for new projects. The second technique is behavioral activation. This targets another problem, inactivity and withdrawal. Often, when people feel depressed or anxious, they avoid activities. They cancel plans, skip workouts, stop talking to friends. But this avoidance reinforces negative feelings. Behavioral activation is simple. Plan one small positive activity each day, even if you don't feel like it. It could be taking a short walk, sending a text to a friend, or cooking a meal. The act itself triggers dopamine release and gives the brain positive feedback. Over time, this interrupts the cycle of inactivity and negative thinking. Let me give you a real-life example. Sarah, a college student from New York, felt hopeless during finals week. Her thoughts told her, I'll fail everything. I can't do this. She started using behavioral activation. Each day, she forced herself to walk for 10 minutes and text a friend for support. Within a week, she noticed her mood lifting. Her thoughts were still present, but the negative spiral was weaker. Small actions rewired her brain. The third technique is exposure exercises. Anxiety often grows because we avoid feared situations. CBT teaches that gradual exposure reduces fear. Start with small, manageable steps toward the situation you fear. For example, if public speaking makes you anxious, first practice in front of a mirror, then a friend, then a small group, and finally in a larger setting. Each step reduces the amygdala's overactivity and teaches your brain that the fear is not dangerous. Research at Stanford and Harvard shows that structured exposure can reduce phobias and social anxiety by up to 70% in months. Here's a relatable example. Jason, from Los Angeles, had severe anxiety about grocery shopping in crowded stores after lockdown. He started by visualizing himself walking through the store while practicing slow breathing. Then he went at off-peak hours, followed by small tasks like picking one item. Step by step, his anxiety decreased, and he eventually returned to normal grocery routines. Exposure, combined with structured thinking, rewired his brain to stop seeing everyday tasks as threats. Another technique is cognitive restructuring. After identifying distorted thoughts, you actively challenge them using evidence, logic, and perspective. For instance, if your thought is, "My boss hates me," ask yourself, "What evidence do I have? Have there been positive interactions? Could there be another explanation?" Then replace the thought with a realistic alternative. "My boss gives me feedback because she wants me to improve, not because she hates me." Over time, cognitive restructuring rewires neural pathways, increasing the prefrontal cortex's control over emotional responses from the amygdala. The fifth technique is problem-solving practice. Many people ruminate not because they are lazy, but because they lack structured ways to approach problems. CBT encourages breaking down problems into actionable steps. Instead of thinking, "I'll never manage my work," list tasks in order of priority, create a small plan, and take one step at a time. Completing even one small step reduces feelings of helplessness and increases self-efficacy. Research confirms that structured problem-solving reduces anxiety and depression in both adults and adolescents. Let's explore combining these techniques into a daily routine. In the morning, use a thought record. Notice any negative thinking before your day begins. Label it, challenge it, replace it with a balanced thought. Then, plan one behavioral activation task, a walk, a chore, or a social interaction. Do it. During the day, when a feared situation arises, practice exposure in small steps. Finally, in the evening, review your cognitive restructuring. Which thoughts were distorted? Which evidence contradicted them? Journal your insights. End the day with a short problem-solving session. One small task for tomorrow. Consistency is key. The brain learns by repetition. The more you challenge distorted thoughts, engage in meaningful activities, and face fears gradually, the more your neural pathways adapt. Anxiety, depression, and negative thinking do not disappear instantly, but the brain gradually strengthens the rational, problem-solving circuits, reducing the emotional overload from the amygdala. Let's make this relatable with a full scenario. Imagine waking up anxious about an upcoming presentation. Your brain says, "I'll embarrass myself. Everyone will notice. I can't do this." Normally, avoidance kicks in, you stay in bed, scroll your phone, procrastinate. Your anxiety grows. With CBT, the steps are different. You notice the thought, write it down, label it as catastrophizing, and restructure it. "I may make mistakes, but I am prepared. Others are human too." Then you take action. Rehearse your speech for 5 minutes. That is behavioral activation. You might practice in front of a mirror, exposure. Finally, you plan the next small step, reviewing slides again tomorrow. Each step, no matter how small, sends a message to your brain. "I can handle this." Negative thoughts are manageable. Fear is temporary. You are not powerless. Research confirms that these techniques, when practiced consistently, are as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression and anxiety. Unlike medication, the effects last longer because you are physically and cognitively rewiring your brain. CBT also improves emotional resilience. People who practice CBT techniques report better stress tolerance, improved sleep, better relationships, and higher overall well-being. Studies in the United States and Europe show improvements in both subjective well-being and measurable cognitive performance. And here's the best part. Anyone can use these techniques. You don't need a license to start thought records. You don't need a therapist to practice behavioral activation. You don't need special skills to start exposure gradually or to restructure your thoughts logically. Start small. Pick one technique. Thought records, behavioral activation, breathing and exposure, cognitive restructuring. One at a time. Practice consistently. Track your progress. Reflect. Repeat. The brain is plastic. It will change. For example, a real-world application could be, every morning, write down 3 anxious thoughts and challenge one of them. Take a 5-minute walk immediately after. During work, notice when a small task triggers fear or procrastination and break it into manageable steps. Problem solving. In the evening, practice exposure by doing something slightly uncomfortable, like initiating a short conversation or tackling an overdue task. Finally, journal insights for 10 minutes before bed. Over weeks, this practice rewires neural circuits, reduces amygdala hyperactivity, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, and increases dopamine and serotonin pathways through small behavioral wins. Consistency compounds. 2 minutes of structured practice daily might feel small, but after 30 days, your thoughts will be less catastrophic, your fears less overwhelming, and your emotional regulation stronger. If you commit even a few minutes each day, you will notice small improvements. More control over thoughts, less emotional overwhelm, better sleep, and a sense of mastery. And over weeks, these small changes compound into major mental health improvements. Mental health is not magic. It is biology. And CBT is the most direct tool science has given us to influence that biology through simple, repeatable daily actions. If this video helped you understand how CBT works and how you can apply it in daily life, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs practical mental health tools. Your thoughts are not your reality. Your brain is adaptable. You are capable of changing your mind, literally, and CBT gives you the roadmap to do it.